Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and things tend to explode. But usually in ways that are entertaining. And also I'm told that this is a good stream to just sort of have running in the background listening to, so if you need to chill out, hey, I guess we got that. We got lo-fi this week, so enjoy that, I guess. Right, so last time we mostly worked on getting the quarry command for the companions working, which mostly is an evolved form of the just mine a single block command, and then our goal was to try and make it much more easy to quickly select the right command that you're after for the right people, that sort of thing. And since then I have done a few things, very few as substantial as actually creating a changelog. Can you believe I've been working on this mod in particular for 2.5 years? Never actually kept a changelog. So now it's actually going to be easier for me to actually include that when I like upload stuff to Forge. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here. Not a whole ton of it is like stuff you haven't seen before, but there are a few things that you haven't seen before. So let's go have a look at those, shall we? So how are y'all? Having a good week so far? I hope so. Okay, so the first thing that is like visual that I can show at the very least is that I have redone what it looks like when someone or something is spellcasting, because previously it was just sort of a swirl of particles that weren't even fully the right color, and that was fine unless you didn't really necessarily have a machine that was like capable of running that many particles. We've already seen that problem with the wall of fire that I still need to fix, and it didn't look too great, honestly. Like in total, it didn't look that great. I have now implemented a much snazzier view. And that's what it looks like when you cast a level 7 spell, which you normally can't, but data managing. So, unbreakable level 7 spell wand. Doable. So that, yeah. You can see it. There's circles. There are up to 3 circles. How many circles there are is dependent upon the level of the spell. Level 7, I think it's level 6 through 9, give you the full 3. The color of them is dependent upon the color of the school of magic that you're casting from, and the rate at which they appear is based on the casting time of the spell up to a maximum of, I think, about a second or so. So they do actually all show up every time, and not always like right before the spell actually finishes casting, but it looks dang good, I think. And I might try and fancy this up a little even more for like the top tier of spells, but that's what we got for right now. And the next thing I've done since last week, at the very least, is I've added the first ore. Technically the second, but the first one is a gem, not an ore. Like, it's not a metal, so it's technically not an ore. Yeah. But that is mithril, and yes, I've spelt this correctly. At least for the context of the intention here. So, currently, this only spawns in 1 block veins in about 1 in 1,000 chunks. I'm probably going to be changing that, so it's a bit more common, like less of a massive pain in the butt to get if you're low. But you can, of course, also smelt it into the mithril ingots, and these textures are nothing to write home about in the slightest bit, but there they are. Like, the most interesting thing about mithril right now is that the ore actually has a slight glow to it. So if I actually set time, we can see it is actually brighter than stone would be, which I also have in my inventory, so why not do the comparison line? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So if you find this, like, exposed in a cave, you're gonna spot it, at the very least. But it is rarer than diamond. It is mostly going to be used for, like, making magic-related items and blocks. I'm probably going to break down the ingot into nuggets as well, just to slightly lower the actual, like, cost of making stuff, but for block-sized things and whatnot, it should definitely remain as ingots. And that's more or less all that's happened since about last week. But I have improved things a little bit. It looks like Jared may have somehow been caught in a kerfuffle. So, gonna have to summon a fresh Jared. Haven't actually made a spell for that yet, so fortunately, he's still very much just programmed to obey the nearest player. There you are, okay. Blub, blub, blub. There. Okay, maybe not there. Thank you. Lord, let me get some harming potions for you. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know why that's happening. That tells me there's a blend function somewhere that I need to fix up. There you go. If I look away from... No? Interesting. Huh. Okay, well, yeah, we got a problem, we got a bug there that I will have to figure out later, because Lord knows I suck at this kind of stuff. Graphics are like my weakness, my nemesis. Okay, give me iron. Just so we can actually, like, get you moving. 1, 0, tag, unbreakable, so it will never go away, hopefully. I do that right? I did not. I did not. Do I just have bats? Right, yes, I think I do. There we go, much better. Okay, Jared. Plunk that. Okay, thank you. Okay. So yeah, since last week, we haven't seen... Can you use mithril blocks in beacon bases? I don't have a mithril block currently, because the presumption of having a storage block is that you'll have enough to store, to like warrant storing. But okay, so since last week, if you hit C on an entity to add them to your next mark list, they'll now their name appears in the top there, and when you are then selecting a action to happen, they will be grayed out, or they'll be like normal stuff and inset if they are able to receive a thing. So if you have multiples, you can actually tell them more clearly to like do stuff and the like. Nuggets for rings and pendants? Yeah, like if it's something that you wear as a general rule, it should be nuggets, I think. If it's jewelry, probably nuggets. If it's armor, which is unlikely, then probably ingots. I don't really want to do armor and tools because that'll get me into the arms race. Like, if you've played modded Minecraft for any specific volume of time, you know that basically every single mod in existence that adds any kind of ores whatsoever frequently ends up also adding, like, tools and weapons and armor and such, and they all have to be better than the next one, because why wouldn't you use them otherwise? So I don't really want to be getting into that kind of arms race. That's not something I want to be down with. Can you just hang out over there, please, new Jared? Jared 2.0. Who apparently I still need to put in the lang for, but that's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so this will be used for, in the nearest to futures, this will be used for crafting together the Golem Core, which will by itself be a sort of mystic energy generator, so that's an actual artificial source of mystic energy that you can use to craft higher level spells. And it will also be used as part of making the Homunculus, which is one of the upcoming craftable companions that you can make. Exactly what form the companion will, that particular homunculus will take, I'm not 100% certain yet, because there's so many good possibilities. And there's also, like, a programmable robot inside of Minecraft that we could probably just ape a little bit, but yeah, I did contemplate having programmable, like, companion commands, and I was quickly shouted down, so that's probably not happening very soon. Not because people think it's a bad idea, but more because it will take me, like, 8 years. So yes, that's that, and today we're going to be trying to improve on that little GUI you've got a quick little glimpse of, to make it clearer what commands you have available, to make it look nicer, that sort of thing. And we definitely want to try and, if just by sheer accident, see if we can figure out why that whole blending thing was happening. Because that might be a problem somewhere, just as an idea. So we've got our list of mobs, and we've got our, like, current action, previous action, and next action, but currently they take up a whole ton of space on the screen, and we really only need to be seeing one of them, ideally, so there's that. And unless we scroll through all of them, we don't actually know which ones we have available, because the list is now based on the presence of a mob in the vicinity that will A, listen to you, and B, can actually, like, perform a given function. So if there's no mobs in your vicinity that can say, mount up on a horse, then you will not be able to issue the command of mount up on a horse. The idea here is that we want to make sure that you're only ever able to give commands that could actually be executed, so that every single command you can execute can be done. It's sort of this notion of when we tell a creature to do something and it fails, we think it's worthless. But if we tell it to do something and it succeeds, it has value to us, and we might actually, like, convey it as being intelligent. It's like, you don't generally want to actually deal with a mob that doesn't do what you want it to do, no matter how absurd it is that you're telling it to do something. So if they have the option, we want it to succeed. That sort of thing. But okay. So, to try and save some space, we're gonna start, at the very least, by having an inset, like, GUI object. So call it that. Bring that over here, and then we mostly want to actually have all of this portrayed inside of its own draw function. So if current action is not null, just grab all of that, really. That's fine. And it's not complaining about anything, that's nice. Let's see. I don't suppose we have the mouse X and whatnot here, but that's also irrelevant for this particular screen. Okay, I think that's a good start, so... Why is screen resolution in here, out of curiosity? Where's this width value coming in? Ah, right there. Okay. We're showing it right in the middle of the screen. Alright, public GUI marking options. So that just gets us this screen. This dot set GUI size. How wide do we want it? Well, firstly, we know more or less how tall we want it to be, which is to say, like, barely tall enough for the actual option to be visible, because I want to do this like a rotary, a horizontal rotary. So you see the main one that you want in the middle, and then you see sort of glimpses of the other ones on the next, over the sides. So for that, we would want to say that our width is equal to, say, 250 for right now, and the height should be equal to the font renderer height times, say, 1.5, so let's call that, like, 30. This will not be looking correct the first time that we boot it, but here we go. And then we want to position that screen in the middle, beneath the cursor, where we previously had the actual things showing up. But yeah, I don't think mithril should be like a commonly used material. It shouldn't even really necessarily be something that you go like mining for. But you also probably like it should be valuable, but like obtainable, accessible, I guess. I'm not sure just yet. It's a very careful balance between frequency but value. Oh, and we already have a problem. Ah, that's a good start. Okay, what happened? There was an unexpected error, apparently. Which seems implausible. Let's see, text previous here would be the only thing that could be null. Or maybe it was the font render that you thought was null. Could that be it? Possibly, because font render is up here. But you don't have a complaint with it, so... Ah, because GUI screen doesn't set it. I see. At least as near as I can tell. Yeah, it just calls it. That's interesting. Ah, set world and resolution. Aha, aha. That's where it gets set. Okay. That's weird, but fine. Mithril ring with diamond and emeralds for enchanting. It's an idea. I did actually contemplate adding an additional rendering layer to the magician's hat, the pointed hat. That's beautiful and gorgeous. I love it. So you could actually put like custom gems, whatever gem you liked, in like on the front of it, just as like a bling thing. Nice little way to differentiate different pieces of armor, that sort of thing. So let's see. This dot font renderer equals Minecraft. Get Minecraft. Font renderer. There we go. So that should solve that problem at least. One odd problem. Particularly, I wish Minecraft had a cold spell, like we know bows can get flame, but where's the frost bow? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I added a frost. Ice aspect. There we are. I don't know if that can be added off the top of my head to bows, but we do have an ice companion to fire on swords at the very least. In this mod. Right, let's try that again, shall we? But yeah, you'll get some mithril together, you'll pack that together in a crafting table, that'll make a golem core, or more specifically, it'll make an inert golem core, which you then have to enchant, and then it starts just sort of like gradually accumulating. Okay, that is exactly what I expected to see. That is fine. Okay, so yeah, that is now rendering in the top left, but that is exactly where it should be rendering currently, given what we've currently told it to do. Good, okay. Now, because that's rendering as part of a subscreen, if we tell it to render the previous and the next on sides as opposed to the tops, it should cut them off, which is our goal here, so that we don't just clutter the screen too much. Passive lapis and gold can be added to rings. Perhaps a lapis can hold certain spells. More random ideas brought to you by the joy of caffeine. Ah, oh boy. Okay. So here, I'm gonna do that. Minus the width of that. I think, where's our coordinates? Int x, int y, int color, okay. Enchanting a golem core is a jump start. I guess it's more of the, like, you've created the physical structure and now you need to pour magic into it for it to do anything. Okay, that will not be pretty, but it should at least work. It's like you've made the air filter, and enchanting it is just adding the carbon section of it. Or you've I don't know, you've set up like a small base and you've now only just now attached the solar panel to it. It's like you're not so much jump starting it as it needs this to function. I don't know. I'm not. Jump start implies that you need to like give it a kick and then that kick is kind of completely done and the work is finished. Whereas in this case, it's more like this is the thing that you need to work it. This is like the last thing that just actually gets the whole thing running. If you take it away, it'll stop. That sort of thing. Like it needs to be enchanted. Okay. Oh, that's gone very strange. That's gone very strange indeed. Wow. Well done me. And more significantly for us, it is very clearly rendering everywhere. Where is the mark? I can't even see our main one. Okay, that is weird. We got the size. Did we maybe not set the resolution properly? Possibly. So let's see. Options, screen, set, world, and revolution. So let's see, what did we say our width was? Do that. That also obviates us from actually having to have this, because that's the function that actually tells it to set the dang font renderer. I don't know why that's not just a straight up loop. Yeah, I recently, I wouldn't say I marathoned it, but I certainly like dove through it. The anime from about 2017 called Knights and Magic, which I do recommend, by the way. It's short and sweet, and that involved an item known as an ether reactor, which is basically a magic engine. It just, like, sits there and absorbs mana from the air, and they use that to power mechs. And that's, like, a big explanation of how the Golem Core works, I think, because they have, there's this really rare metal that they use to actually, like, build the reactor, but then the reactor is itself mostly just, like, a lump that just happens to be big enough and have enough surface area for them to write this big, long spell on it. So you make something out of mithril, and then you enchant it, and now you have a Golem Core. Makes sense. Okay, now that we've got the resolution, what's it gonna do now? Still doing the weirdness, and I'm not entirely certain where everything is here. Oh yes, Jared and his ilk are now actually using a fake player. So, if you give them a really rubbish shovel, they'll be really bad at mining rock. If you give them a really good pickaxe, made of netherite or whatever, they will go bird. Much as they previously did, so their equipment now actually matters, which is pretty sweet. But since he only has nothing on it, since he only has a boat right now, it's fairly irrelevant. Let's see, X is left and right, isn't it? Or I got that completely wrong. Just gonna add that, and then maybe that'll give us an idea of where this thing is. Let's bring this to basics, shall we? Because now we're not really actually having to move it too much. So the current one wants to be at mid minus string width over 2. Like, generally speaking, these will not be there. Let's say mid minus 100 for that one, and mid plus 100. Okay, why is this one in particular complaining? Because apparently there's 4 ints. Ah. There we go. Okay. Let's see, and the Y level would be equal to height minus, I think, font render's height. Yes, I think. Just to put them all in the mid. Okay, let's see how that looks. So the default background is mostly the vignetting, and where we see that on the screen will tell us where it thinks it's rendering everything. Yeah, Mithril is going to be our gateway to actually like making magic items and such. Like, if you are making a magic item, it probably needs some amount of Mithril. And then theoretically, from there, I can create all manner of enchantments, and you can shove those into the enchantment table, and it'll like give you the thing, and then you can make, okay, I'll pick this. Although probably not like the best of ideas there, on the sheer basis that an enchantment table does not give you any kind of real meaningful idea of what's going on. There's a lot of like ifs, ands, or buts in that. Okay, let's see how we look. Right, okay. That's better. It's not good, but it's better. So now we can see the one that we want in the middle, or the one that we're currently selecting in the middle, and then the other ones are off to the sides. And we can also see exactly where, like, the area of our thing here. So we just need to figure out, for the most part, why it's still spilling over the edges, which is, of course, the thing we're trying to avoid. We're trying to nestle this specifically in the middle. Now there is, of course, a thing that I'm simulating here, so let's find... There's another GUI we've had for this. Where is it? It was active spells, which is part of GUI list extended, which is part of GUI slot. Is that what we're just gonna extend out of then, I guess? I guess. Reading through this and trying to find out exactly what's going on with this. So, position text color, okay. That is, I believe, drawing the scrollable background. Let's see, there's draw slot. If you're new to new to this kind of stream, I'm an AI programmer. Graphics programming almost cost me my degree, so yeah, this is gonna be a lot of trial and error. Okay, well, let's try extending marking options out of GUI slot and see what happens after that. Okay, what do you complete?
In a writer, I'm looking for somebody who brings everything to the table.
Minecraft width, height, top, bottom, and that. Okay.
You know, who brings the heart, who brings their vision, and particularly who bring their brain to the table.
Who's talking to me?
They're aware of what they're doing and they're making conscious choices.
Hello? Okay, somebody did not mark that as having, like, speech in it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Pretzel is specifically set to not play, stuff with dialogue in it, because, of course, over top of this stuff, it gets kind of confusing. Let's see. Width, height, top and bottom. So let's see. Wait, shouldn't the width, height, top and bottom? You should be able to derive those values, surely. But... yes, Asper, it's the music. That's the joke. Okay, so let's see. We were saying 250-30. And then, where would we say is height? Let's say 100 for the time being. And I'm missing an argument, apparently? Width, height, top, bottom, slot height. Wait, so then what's that? Why are there two height values? The height of a slot. Like, in this case, wouldn't that be the same thing, I guess? Okay. Oh, joy. Right, well, this is never going to be clicked, so that's fine. This is literally just meant to be rendered over top of the engrave. Slot in X 0, X position 0, 0, that's fine. Height 30, 0, 0, and I guess the events take time. Okay. Okay, right. Bit more complicated, bit more of a pain. Should hopefully work. In theory, if I want to go really ham on this, I could basically just make this a list where all of the available options are technically exited, but only like the mid-free are actually rendered, but that would still have like cutoff issues, potentially. Okay, well, I think it's still sort of there. It is very much going over. So, Like, how do I want to do this in a way that more or less the only thing you can clearly see is the current one you're actually selecting, whilst also allowing you to actually see the next and previous options in the list. I think the best thing I can do is to actually create like small UI symbols that are recognizable, so you know exactly what's... You have at least a decent idea of what they are. In which case, we can get the ordinal ID of the different options, and from there derive an icon that we could render, so you have an idea of what it is. That's probably the best idea, I think. And that way, the only text we actually have to render is the one that we're about to select. That, I think, is the best option. That also gets us out of all of this mess. Okay, so in that case, we need the mark subtype, but we don't actually need the next and previous. Hey, Rainy, how you doing? Okay. Now comes the hard part, which is that I suck at using the, I suck at using it so much I actually don't recall its name. I do have a bunch of things that use it. It is the tessellator. There you are. Okay. This is basically the code I'm after. Close out all of that nonsense. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. So, let's presume that we put all of our icons in the same image. In which case, we need to know where a given one starts and a given one ends. Now that is heavily dependent upon how many we have, and what their order is, and how many are in a given row, and all sorts, as well as how big the consequent file is. Let's presume... where are we? There we are. That our file is going to be about the same size as most things for UI. Most things are 256 by 256. So text size x equals 256. Text size y equals also 256. Now, the reason we need to know this is because you might notice down here we just have 0 and 1. That's not pixels 0 to 1. that is 0% of the width of the file to 100% of the width of the file, which means we need to work out exactly how big a given pixel of this is, then multiply that by how many pixels each icon is, and from there, derive exactly where we are in the file. So let's, for the time being, say that our icons are 16 by 16. So, in start x, what should be double really, shouldn't it? Equals type.ordinal times icon size, icon size over text size x. That won't work currently because these are all integers rather than doubles, and that'll just give us an integer, which is not necessarily the most accurate thing in the world. And then double end x would be type.ordinal plus 1 times the same thing. So anywhere that this is 0 to 1, or 1 to 0, or 1 to 1, or whatnot, that is basically these two numbers. So, okay, we're using a value here. Great place to actually insert this as being a thing. So icon scale equals double icon size over double text size x. If you do things more than once, you generally want to save them to a variable, because looking it up in memory is a lot cheaper than recalculating. But that's the line, that's the what? Okay. Now, if we are presuming that our icons are all 16 by 16, there becomes a set number of them that we can actually have on a given row inside of this file. Which, of course, is going to be 256 over 16. Nope, 16. Thank you very much. 16. Okay. So, to work out the y value, we need to find out how many times 16 goes into the ordinal value, our little index kind of position here. Which we will actually store, so type.ordinal. Again, we're using that more than once, so might as well store it. So that is, let's see, math.floordiv. Index 16 times icon scale y, which is basically the same thing, we just use y instead of x there. And then in much the same way, and y. Okay. Okay. So then, draw command icon. Obviously, there's no bound texture. It doesn't exist right now, so this is going to be weird. But let's start. And then we want mid minus 100. Wait, 100, not 1200. Jesus. And y left. Alrighty then. Yeah, we're not binding a texture, so currently this is going to be more or less showing Hegel. But it will at least be generating something. And just for good measure, I'm gonna break these out as their own matrices. Because graphics scares me, and I am intimidated. Okay. Real quick, before I take my first break. Let's see how this works. If at all. So what we should see is the highlighted command that we're actually currently selected, and then probably a garbled texture, but maybe the old black and purple hex grid texture in two 16x16 things either side, or at least a distance apart. Essentially, what is something that's hideous but shows that it's doing what we're currently telling it to do. It's not going to be building a house, but it will be picking up a hammer. And our survey says... I mean, this is kind of working. It's just not doing what we're trying to do it to. Now that might just be because we don't have a bad texture. Or it might be getting overridden by the existence of the default background. It's gonna be nice and actually like... Nope, it is not going to be nice. Okay. I was hoping it would actually, like, show us the, if it would actually update. That's fine. That's fine. So there's probably a Z-level issue here. Or maybe it's because I put that there, come to think of it. Anyways, we'll find out in about 10 minutes. Catch you then. welcome back, everybody. So, just before we left off there, we were trying to create a quick code for drawing a fill-like icon, ideally, hopefully, indicating the command that is next in the list as well as the one that's previous in the list, and that should hopefully save us a bunch of space when we are trying to select an icon, a command rather. Now I've bound this to command textures, which is not a file that exists yet, so if we see anything it should hopefully be a pair of black and purple boxes. Hopefully. So for this stage, we are mostly just trying to get a sentence and then a pair of boxes. We will then be like scaling that appropriately and putting that to just below the middle of the screen where your cursor is, so that you can still see the thing that you're looking at whilst you're selecting it. After that, we're going to want to render all of the icons for all of the different like commands that we have available to us, like directly beneath that in a row, as well as changing their color depending on which one we have selected, so that we have an idea of where we are in the list and what's is available. So if we see that, so if we hit the button and we see that our like selection option that we want isn't there, then we can just scroll back to cancel and be done. And that should make it very quick and easy to select which one you want. Could you move there for me, please? And we apparently still don't have anything. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. This is why I nearly lost my degree to graphics programming. It did try to render something though, we see. Because it also, otherwise it wouldn't have actually called that. Okay. So then, why aren't we seeing anything? That's the next question. Let's check here, because somewhere over here we should actually render a thing. Texture about a rectangle. Hello. This might literally be what I'm looking for, more or less. I wonder if, did I miss that part? Nope, that appears to be correct. Tesslator and the buffer. Which one am I calling right now? Tesslator and the buffer, okay. This.z level. I've currently just got 0. I wonder if that's the problem. I don't even know what that value is set to, if at all. I literally don't see anywhere that it's set at all, in fact. Well, let's put it in. Maybe it gets set. I don't know. I'm kind of curious now. Where does that get set? Like, does that get set in Wilton Resolution as well? Nope. Aha, okay. 300 there. Item render Z level, 300. And then it gets switched down to 0. Interesting. Okay. Can we just presume for this then that it's gonna be 300? I don't know. Let's find out. I did say at the start that this stream's probably gonna be a lot of trial and error. But then that's most programming. If at first you don't succeed, iterate and try again. Eventually you'll end up with something that's reasonably close to what you were looking for. Okay, what do we got this time? Still not. Interesting. We literally have a function in the thing, so why don't we actually just call that? There's a fort. So let's see. Yeah, we've got those integers. So the x coordinate, the y coordinate, everything else. Texture, x and y, width and height. Okay, that's probably good. So x is our incoming x, y is our incoming y, texture start is going to be start x, and start y, not multiplied by the icon scale, but nonetheless. Width and height, both 16 according to our current knowledge. Okay, get rid of the sea level references. So that would be index times 16, and that would be floor div index over 16. Or I'm trying to think. Yeah, that would be correct. Here, where 16 is icon size, but nonetheless. Okay. Is this going to work? I don't know, but it probably would. It's probably, in the case of graphics, better to trust code that already exists than me. Just as an idea. And somehow that works. Okay. Fine. I'm okay with this. It's off-center, but it's start. Okay. It's actually quite kind of a decent size, honestly. So, you know, we'll take it. I will say that we should probably render the text over top, which means we need to render it last. Text for our current command, that is. Okay. Grand. So exchange 16s there for icon size, and then we'll be able to change it up if we want to have a different thing. Let's see, is there anything else? Do we want to... I think 16 is a decent size for it to actually be. But the way this works is if you use this version of it, then you have to actually, like, just sort of take it as being that. Like, it's a pretty pixel for pixel at that point. And there we go. Okay. So, next, let's get the list of every command we have available and run through them all to actually create a bar below the text that actually shows all the current available commands. In which case, we need to reference companion marking a bit more to get the mark options. Thankfully, that's a public, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. be mid. I kind of want to have this like stored, but yeah. Let's do this a little differently. So instead of iterating through them in that fashion, we'll actually iterate through them as an array, which gives us an index of where we are. Okay. So from there, we can actually alter these values as much as we like. So mid minus, we'll say 90. Plus I times 16. That seems like it's make that yeah, 16. And then Y level, is it positive to go down or not? I don't remember. Let's say 20. Plus floor div I. We'll say we have about 8 per row. I don't imagine there'll be very many times that you'll end up with that, but who knows. There. So that should give us a bar, essentially, of potential things which are options. Now, ideally, we want to color them to identify which one you're currently on, so you know where you are exactly in the list. At a quick glance, as it were. Now here's the question. Do we want to have the next and previous ones, like, visible? Or do we just want to rely on, well, this one's highlighted, so that's where we are? Like, this is functionally two ways of telling where you are in the array. So once again, all we'll see is, like, black and purple blobs, but they're our black and purple blobs. Okay. So, yep, that's what we wanted to see. Although I don't know how many options we have, or else I feel like we should probably have more of these. But they're all the same color, and they're also completely nondescript. So let's throw together a thing showing us exactly like what we've got. And that is irrelevant for the moment, I think. Or we could maybe like set the left and right, but that's again something for later. My brain's gone funky. I've just forgotten what I was about to do. Oh dear. Alright, let's try to give us some basic textures. What's the thing called? Companion commands. Let's open that with glimpse. Okay. Now there's one command that we always know is going to be in this list. and that is cancel. We know cancel is always going to be there. So let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. 15 times 16, everybody? Anybody know? I don't know if there's a man. 16 times 16 is 256, I'm actually. We're very close to it. $240. Okay. So, we know that this will start at 240. And I literally picked the one that's like 128 instead of 256, didn't I? Well done me. Okay, if we go to here and check out... There's a weird squiggly number in here. And if we take that number and divide 1 by it, we'll find out exactly how big it's expecting the x and y values to be. $256. Okay, yeah, I was right the first time, but I do need to rescale this. Canvas size is what I want. Hang on. Make more. There. Okay. So, starting at 240. Right there. Okay. So in here, let's just draw an X. That's actually quite nice color, honestly, come to think of it. We just want an X, basically. And let's give it a border, just to start. Because a border will help us know where we are. Okay, so that's not going to be up in the middle. Good to know. Graphic design is my passion. It's my passion, not my skill. Just a really quick and simple X, really. That's all we need. Ideally, one that fits perfectly in the middle of this, but apparently we're not going to have quite that luxury. Let's just move this over to the side. Okay. We'll probably be turning these white for the most part, just so we can actually grayscale them. Okay. That gives us a quick base texture. So now, instead of black blobs, we should see, actually the thing. Let's close out that. Marking options. cat eye. Eye should work. Okay, I'm just trying to get them like slightly separated by like a pixel. Thank you, Rainy, for that quick little bit of math. Everybody else alive in chat? I know most people listen to this stream in the background, and I am legit actually playing a lo-fi station right now. But how are you doing? Okay, what do we got now? Okay, good. Yep, now we can see our little X's turning up. Good. Go to activate, guard, cancel. Good start, good start. Okay. Now, one thing I want to do is make sure that that little row of icons there is actually centered. Because the idea here is that we put this information as close to your cursor as possible without directly being on top of it at the very least, so that we A, don't obscure what you're looking at and thereby trying to indicate to, and B, you are most able to, like, it shows up in the area you are most able to see in your peripheral. Because we have peripheral vision, and then we have, like, the central cone, and it's kind of like, human vision works sort of in zones. Your peripheral vision starts about here or so, give or take, and beyond that, you can't really read things. You see things in like general blurred shapes and the like. But then in your middle, you can see like clearest focus directly ahead of you, but there's an area around it that you can also see decent focus on, which is partially why we're trying to go for icons here, because it's easier for us to distinguish icons. Okay. So we've got activate, guard, and go to. What number is go to position? 0. Okay, so it's this one right here. Let's just have this one be an arrow for the time being then. Okay, and let's see, activate is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait, no, go to mob is 0. Ugh, okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of fine, honestly. I should put in an index for, like, what icon these things use. So, that's 15. Go to position, we'll say it's 0. And then go to mob, can be right next to it. Gives us a bit more control. Okay. And then we'll have guard position and guard mob be next to each other. We have activate, mine, quarry. I think that's all the ones that are position related at the very least. 7. 8. So now we actually know exactly where these will be. Reliably, even if I reorganize them. Okay. So we know that this particular list is going to show us go to position. Well, when we're pointing at a block, we know it will show us go to position, activate position, and guard position. So let's see. Guard position is 2. So it's the third one along. This one. Let's just put a really quick and dumb, like, shield icon in here. These need to be fairly simple, just so you can actually, like, identify them a bit better. The more you can, the less you have to look at these to know what they are, the better, basically. And then there was activate, which is position 4, which is the 5th one along. So this one. I guess we just put, like, a lever in here. Okay. Overwrite that. Refresh it there. Okay. So, we know how many icons we're going to be drawing at the time at which we actually start drawing them. So, we can then work out the full and total width of the bar, divide that to half, and subtract that from mid in order to actually give ourselves a starting point that is equal sides to first. So bar x would equal mid minus okay, hang on. Option size equals companion marking, mark options length. Because again, we're using that a bunch, so we might as well save it to a value. So option size times, we know that they're 16 wide, plus options size, that gives us the full width. So divide that by 2. And that will then give us bar x. That should hopefully put them pretty central. It might be slightly off by like 8 to 16 pixels. And because we've now got textures for all of these, we should actually be able to tell what they are before we even scroll them. Essentially, we're like, our main drive with this is to make it as user-friendly as we theoretically possibly can, because this needs to be something that's not difficult to understand, or else we won't use it at all, more or less. And it also is something that you'll potentially be doing in combat, which is a short time frame to be like doing stuff, so I want it to be quick, snappy, and easy to do. Again, this is still going to be in the top left, because we haven't moved that around yet, but try and get it to look right first. Okay. So now, we actually have icons. Good, good, good. And we can tell where we're going to be, based on the next and previous icons on the left and right, and where we are based on the one that we're currently at. But we're getting better here. This isn't quite on the levels of the ping mod, but we're getting there. Okay, I think that's about even. I think that is. That looks, at the very least to me, very much like it's the same thing. The same distance. Don't use the ones actually on the line there, because those are definitely needing to be a little bit more offset. But does that look like it's the middle of the text to everybody? I think it is. Caffeine hasn't thrown you any more ideas? Okay. Yeah, Okay, so yeah, we are correctly seeing what we got there. Good, 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 good. Now, on the bar, let's try actually tinting them to show which ones we're actually, like which one we are currently selecting. Yeah, the two side ones are off-center. I'm aware of that part. It's because all of the icons are drawn from the left-hand side and the top. So when we're saying that here's the point, they're actually a little off. So in this case, we actually want to be subtracting 8 there. Is it 8 or 16? Subtracting 16, yeah. So that they're actually the same distance apart. So now on our bar, we should be able to tell which one we're actually at, and consequently which one's next. So even if we can't necessarily see that, because it's not the immediately next or last one, we'll actually be able to tell. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, see that? We can now actually tell where we are in the array. Hurrah! Progress. Progress. Might make them darker just to be especially more clear. Really want some coffee but heart taste the smell? Oh, that's a pity. Maybe you can find some kind of compromise. Finding a type of coffee that actually likes the smell of, maybe. I don't drink coffee either. Coffee is terrible. Okay, makes them darker. And let's see. So now that we have the bar, do we even need the next and previous ones? Is that even necessarily relevant? Is that vital? Can we reduce visual clutter by getting rid of those? Answer is yes, but will we lose information that's useful? I think the answer is we don't necessarily need it. Like, if we can see the command we're about to give out, and we can see the whole list of them, I don't think we necessarily need to know what the next and last one is, because that's derivable from the thing we're looking at anyways. Okay, so next thing, I believe, is to actually get it in position. I think. that over at GUI marking. Let's see, there's GUI size. Modern resolution isn't what we're looking for. Let's see what this does. Width and height, okay. We're looking for left and right here. Which we don't appear to have. Okay, right. In which case, we can try using the state manager to move it. We need the world resolution again. Okay, and then we access the state manager. And translate, which is to say move. And hopefully that puts it near the middle. Actually, I might put it exactly on the middle, which is not exactly where we want it to be, but patience. So after this, the next thing we need to do is add proper handling for reading out the mobs that we're currently looking at. There are icons that show up over the mobs that you've got selected in your list, and then I have set alerts to and such. But being able to actually see that without having to scan the area, very handy. Because maybe you like clicked one by accident and now you don't remotely remember them or where they are or whatnot. And you accidentally tell them to like go somewhere when you need them to like stand on a pressure plate or something, I don't know. Mine is not to ask what you will use these commands for, mine is to give you the option for them. Okay, so I don't see this anywhere. That's a bad sign. Okay, yep. Hecked something up, that's for sure. I'm betting it's because I didn't bracket this. So where do we want to have the list of mobs? That's the question. Do we want to keep it in the top left? But people tend to put a lot of stuff in the top left. Do you want to put it on the side somewhere? Do I just have icons? Actually, having like a face and like then the name might help. Okay, that's a start. It's the wrong position, but it is centered. It's way off on position, but it is centered. Just now we can actually see it. Next to status effects, if you open your inventory, that here's the thing. Having to open your inventory means that, firstly, that's another button click, which means it takes longer to do. Secondly, it means that you're not able to do anything because you're in your inventory, so you can't give commands whilst like attacking or like blocking with your shield, that sort of thing. Which might be the point where you most want to give a command. Taking all your brain power to type to take? Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. That's fine. Oh, it's because I gave it the wrong value. That's probably why. Probably very lucky it got there. I'm probably very lucky that that was visible at all. Yeah, like, commands need to be quick, easy, and extremely accessible. Like, in-game. So if you have to open a UI for it, I've already failed. Okay, that puts it to the middle of our screen. Good, that's not quite where we want it when it's slightly below, but that does make it very clear where we are. Grand. And of course, we've still got it to be that the one you are most likely to want is always at the start, so consequently you're able to if you want to just tell them to do one thing real quick, then just tap the button. Job done. You don't actually have to go through the whole thing. But okay, if I... yeah, so that's a much longer list of things. I don't even know what we got here. Move towards, attack, stop attacking, mount, dismount, follow, and guard. Seems like an interesting ordering system there, oh well. So that is a much longer list, and then we're still going to need some icons there. Do we want to keep it as that color? Like, immediate question. Is that color something that everyone can see? Because if it's not, then that might mean that somebody can't actually read it. Like, when you're making a UI, that's an extremely important thing to remember, because making a UI that a decent chunk of the population, or the user base to be exact, cannot see is pointless. The point of a UI is to be seen. Let's make it another, like, 20 points below there. Just so we can actually make sure it's that. Like, I could have a colorblind option, for instance, in, like, the client-side config, because this is all client-side anyways. But we also need to make sure that we actually know, it'd be better to not need it, suffice to say. Are black and white universally visible? There's a question. Because I don't know. Are black and white universally visible? Somebody who knows more about color blindness than I do, please find that out. Yeah, let me see. In terms of marking, they should be? Okay, I'll have to remember to do that then. In terms of the mark list, one thing we could do is render them, like, on, like, above your action bar. And have just, like, their heads displayed. That's an idea. Like, sort of like pawns on a chessboard, as it were. And have their names underneath that as well, so then you know exactly what creature it is and what name they have, that sort of thing. So if you have, like, an army of skeletons, you'll be able to tell which one's the which, that sort of thing. Or maybe they only show this. Maybe it only shows the name if you're sneaking. We could borrow code from the spawn eggs for that as a start. Trouble is, I think you can only render the heads of bipedal mobs, and we obviously have non-bipedal companions. Black and white should be safe to use. Okay, good to know. Save that. Okay. Like, but rendering the heads is a nice touch, but I don't think we can do that universally. So how do we want to do that? Okay, well we know go to are the same, or have the same kind of icon, so... In fact, theoretically, we can literally just have them share an icon. Like, if it's literally the same functional thing, then why not just have them share an icon? Since we have that capacity. And then guard position and guard mob could also similarly have the same icon. Where is guard position? Well, there's guard position. Where's guard mob? There you are. So that's 2. Like, a lot of these are just the same thing, but for different targets. These two do want to have separate icons. Cease attacking and cease attack and cease attacking mob. Because one is, everyone stop fighting, and the other one is everyone stop targeting that specific person. Like, everyone that's not attacking that specific person, keep going. It's like when you accidentally tell them to, like when they accidentally start attacking somebody. Like if you have a wolf, like if you have a wolf pack and you just send them out to attack generally, that sort of thing. So those two being separate is important. Mount and dismount, yes, that's good. Follow, that's fine. How do we distinguish mining and quarrying? I guess 1 block versus a ton of blocks? That makes sense. That's 5 and 6. Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's just have, like, a block here, and let me actually just desaturate this entirely. This is definitely not a work of art. And again, I guess technically everything is a work of art, to some degree. I'm just... really not doing well there. Somehow I drew a lambda. I'm not sure why I drew... I'm not sure how I ended up drawing a lambda there, but I was trying to draw a crack. We have so much space to work with. Oh yeah. There. Do we think that properly conveys what I'm talking about here? 1 and multiple. That seems meaningfully significant. We can texture them more if we want, but the less that you have to, like, parse visually, the better. Okay. Pick up and equip. We need a universal symbol for item, essentially, here now. Let's see, pickup is 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I completely just lost where that was. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Universal symbol for an item. My guess would be like an apple, maybe, or possibly some dust. I will say, this is going to get confusing when we have to start, like, when we give companions the capacity to build. I'm still not 100% certain if I'm going to do that eventually, but it's an idea that needs to be, like, considered. Dust is my initial go-to for an item, personally, because I'm a redstone nerd and we all know it. I feel like an apple might be more specific to, like, food, eat, consume, use, that sort of thing. So... maybe a diamond? Could a diamond be the kind of item we're thinking of? Does that sufficiently say diamond to anybody? Looks more like a backpack to me, which I guess that also works, come to think of it. Come to think of it, if it looking like a backpack or a diamond is sufficient. And then I think... oh, I have not had my break. Oh, thank you for catching that. Okay, I'll be back in like 10 minutes with the end of this stream. See you then. welcome back, everybody. So, some quick, cheap and easy texturing later, we appear to have most of the commands that we can give textured. So we've got the move commands, we've got the guard commands, we've got activate, mine, quarry. This I'm using as attack, so it's half a heart because presumably you've just taken damage. I contemplated a sword, but a sword could just as easily be mistaken for equip, so yeah, I went with that. This is meant to be a saddle. I'm not sure it necessarily 100% comes across as a saddle, but that's for the mount command. This is the follow command, so it's just in a loop, because it's basically go to in a loop. This diamond / backpack is pick up. We've got a helmet, of course, for equip. I don't know if I want this to be full or only partial, but either way it comes across quite nicely. Actually, that does look quite nice. Let's stick with that for helmet, for equip. And then we have the two cease attacking and dismounts over here that I haven't quite figured out an idea for, because they are functionally previous commands, but in, like, not. So having an X over them makes the most sense, but that might get them a little bit cluttered. And of course, the last one, of course, is just to cancel. Just forget it. Wasn't good. I have changed my mind. I don't wish to issue a command. But let's see how that all looks now. So we don't currently have a display on your screen for the mobs that you've currently selected to receive a command, which is the equivalent of pointing at a specific person saying, hey, you do this, as opposed to just shouting into the world, do this. It's for more precise control. So say you've got, like, your marching retinue that's just sort of guarding you, and you want to tell them to attack, but not the people nearby that are, like, operating your mine, for instance. Okay, so pointing at that, we got all of those commands, and I do evidently need to move. I do need to alter exactly where this is rendering a bit more, but nonetheless, we got all of our all of the commands that Jared's here can do. If we aim at the mount, we get a bunch more. So good options there, good options, good. I maybe feel like we should reduce the maximum number that can show in a row, but I think it's okay. So we've got move towards, attack, mount, follow, guard. It's looking good, it's looking good. Might be a little harder to see in the dark, but you should nonetheless be able to, like, actually navigate to the one you're looking for quite happily. So let me see, how do we want to show whomst we're actually able, how do we want to show who we have selected? That's the question to me. Because again, I think we can only display the heads of bipedal mobs. But of course, a mount isn't bipedal, but we can give it an order. But just displaying a name, it's going to be a little weird. Am I male or female? Yes. This is a programming stream. I have to answer yes. So let me see. Yeah, if we just display the name, you could have 10, 15, 20 different creatures called skeleton, and they might not... It might be significant that they don't all have the same stuff, or maybe you've set a few to, like, do mining, that sort of thing. So just using the names doesn't quite work. So how do you want to distinguish it? That's the question here. And if you have a whole ton of them, do you want to display all of them on your screen? If you're commanding an army, for instance, do we necessarily want to display every single private soldier general in your list? Like, But yeah, to answer your question there, Zapnap, I'm male. I just don't look like it, I'm all aware. I guess, shift C to clear. So how do we want to do that? I do think rendering the mobs themselves is a good step. And we could then just, like, display them as, like, above your taskbar, that sort of thing. There you go. Very good. I do love that. I love being able to do that. It's lovely. Ah, this is coming together so well. I'm loving it. It becomes more and more like the ping mod every single day, but oh, I'm loving it. I almost feel like I don't need to give a message if you cancel a marking, like it's that relevant information. Anyways. So yeah, what do we think, people? How should we display the things and creatures that you currently are set to talk to next? What do we think? Because I'm not 100% certain. Now, I will note, there is a layer that displays on configurable mobs, not currently Jared's or Matt's over here because they've got separate renderers, that will display like a question mark over the top of mobs that you have selected for your next thing, and will also display an exclamation mark when they receive a thing, which helps you to know which you've got selected and as well as who just got the last order. But if you don't see them, you have no idea. If you're not looking at those mobs, you have no idea. So, how do we want to do that? Like, having the HUD display makes a lot of sense. So, oh, I love it so much. Yeah, you only have so much space to work with, correct, Rennie? Wait, no, that was in regards to the texturing, which I think came out well. That looks good to me. I definitely need to move it away from the cursor, but yay. Speaking of, can I move that from the cursor without this borking? Is it going to update live? Nope, it isn't. Why would anything be that kind to me? Who knows? Okay. Yeah, I think there is definitely an upper limit on like my metric, I guess, my benchmark, that's the word, of how many you should be able to reasonably control at a time is more or less how many skeletons and zombies could you reasonably create at max caster level with, say, animate dead. Because people will absolutely do so. If you have the option to have a skeletal horde, you will probably try to have a skeletal horde. Somebody will try to have a skeletal horde, and they'll try to send them all into battle at once. So, if that is the theoretical, like, top limit, it needs to be, like, something you can reasonably do. So, you need to make sure it's something you can do, in which case, knowing, like, being able to send your, being able to tell your skeletons that they should attack, like, that thing at range, whereas being able to tell your zombies that they should attack that thing in melee, is an important thing to be able to do. Okay, that's a much better position. There we go. And, let's see, we have... That does look like there's, like, maybe a pixel of difference. I think. Yeah, that looks like there's maybe one... That looks like the leftmost pixel of the follow me icon looks like it's directly underneath the cursor, which shouldn't quite be the case. So I might need to... But a pixel off center is maybe not the worst thing in the world. Maybe. I guess that's a... Actually, it's probably... Yeah, I probably can solve that, actually. I think I know where that's coming from. Because if I look over here, options size, if we take that to -1, then we have the actual number that will be added, rather than just the whole list. That's probably where that's coming from. But a pixel of difference is mostly irrelevant. Mostly. But okay, that's good. Yeah, at the very best, it's going to be just grazing it, so I might move it like a couple more pixels lower. But yay! Say 22. There we go. And that does need to exist unless it's down here. Currently. Okay, good. So yeah, I need to figure out how to display. Lord, what even is the limit? Wait, let me have a look here. Okay. Here is the wiki, which we use as our reference point, because 3.5 D&D is very heavily statted and comes in handy that way. Okay. Regardless of the type of undead you create with a spell, you can't create more hit dice of undead than twice your cast level with a single casting. Okay, however, you can only control 4 hit dice worth of undead creatures per cast level. Cast level maxes out at 20, which means you can have up to 80 hit dice worth of undead creatures. We don't have a metric for, how many, hit dice a given creature has right now, but presuming that a human commoner zombie is the zombie you generally find in Minecraft, it has 2d12. So that's 2 hit dice each. So, at 4 hit dice worth, that is 2 zombies per cast level. That is up to 40 zombies. And as previously stated, if we give someone the option of commanding 40 zombies at once, they're absolutely going to want to try and control 40 zombies at once. So, to that end, we're gonna need something that can hold up to 40, something that can display up to 40 creatures. I'm not 100% certain that's feasible, but we need something that can do that. Something that is, able to handle that. What do we think? Just having it be, a bar on the side is gonna be insufficient for that. There's not 40 lines of, available text short of, even if I just, this is less than 40 lines, so there isn't even that much in chat. There's more, of course, if you're full screen, but... Yeah, we definitely don't have visual space, under most circumstances, for 40 different things, so we probably need to cycle through them, I think. Just have the list of things slowly scroll, as it were. What do we think, folks? Yeah, 40 different creatures. It would be an utter hellscape trying, selecting all of them currently, so I probably need to fix that as well. But selecting 40 creatures. It probably shouldn't be very easy to command that many, especially when they're zombies and they don't really, they're not very smart. But if you conscript, 40 kobolds, then that's a different matter. There you go. I also maybe want to have them actually try sprinting. If they're far enough away, they should try sprinting. But that's a bit more complicated as well, because not everything in Minecraft can sprint. Actually, it's mostly 2 creatures that can. Ocelots and players, for some reason. Yeah, currently we just display their names. And that's not really enough, I feel. Surprise, everyone, lying is capable of thinking and feeling. Okay, drawer screen. list, I guess? This will just be the function that we call when we're doing this part. Hiccups, lovely. Yeah, let's actually just call this from there. Does that return itself? No, it does not. Okay. Trying to think here. I think I can call that from static. Just so I don't have to call the resolution twice. Okay, that moves it to the subscreen, which we could theoretically have it be its own subscreen, but But yeah, we do have questions here. Like how do we display upwards of 40 things? What's the square root of 40? Could we display them in like a block? At the very, like, if we just displayed their models, which would also theoretically tell you what they're equipped with, what they're carrying, that kind of thing, then we could display them in like a chunk, a square region. God, I just had a hilarious idea. You know, on some live streams, there's like Bin does this a lot. There's like animations that are just like walking along the bottom of the screen. Imagine if when you selected a creature, it did that. So then we had just like this, we have this like chunk of the screen where there's just like the people you have marked walking along, that sort of thing. That would be very adorable and a little strange and hilarious. Probably not as useful, though. But hey, you definitely know when you're about to send a message to a bunch of zombies. I think that might be for next week, though. Because anything I can think of is going to take an age to actually implement. Yeah. But hey, good progress. Good progress. We managed to get a reasonably unobtrusive view of what you're trying to tell the mobs nearby. So that's good. So consequently, I think that's all I have for today. Right. Don't leave that open if there's nothing in it. And does that super do literally anything? Controls buttons, which are irrelevant because this is drawn over your screen. Rename this. Method to be renamed is never mind. Okay, screen options. There. Just to delineate a little bit more. And so next week we figure out how to render up to 40 creatures. How we figure out how to display up to 40 creatures on your screen at once. Oh goody. And if we have any time after that, I guess we'll start implementing a Xenomorph Queen. Because that's on my to-do list, which means it's something I should actually get up to. Let me actually bring up my to-do list, come to think of it. There you are. So in the Discord, in Modding in Babylon, we have a pinned post, which is the to-do list that I have to get done before I even remotely contemplate switching to 116 or 117, whatever it is by that point, stuff. And we are rapidly running out of stuff to do here, so that's good. We need to fix the quadrupedal model for changelings, because it's wonky. We need to finish the pact system with at least 3 default pacts, which means we actually need to come up with what those pacts need to be. We have to finish a bunch of rooms and functions, which is mostly the Broodbringer is the Xenomorph Queen. There's also the Rift Sealing Ritual that you can use to actually get rid of a hive, which is kind of a wave defense mode, if you will. And yeah, complete the companion system, namely recruitment and commands. We are currently working on that part right there. But yeah, so if you finish that, then we can move on to that, which is the Xenomorph Queen. But that, of course, is going to be a whole other thing later on. But yes, there will be a queen, which is, strictly speaking, not more of a breeder, but in this implementation anyways. Because, of course, the witch is the queen part. But the Broodbringer is a high-danger mob, like changeling variant, that shows up inside of the hatcheries. And they are there to spawn new eggs if there is insufficient or too little, just in general, changelings in a given hive. And if you mess with the eggs, they will mess with you. Because of course they will. They're sort of a Fae variant of the Xenomorph Queen, if you will. Yeah, that'll be for next week at the earliest. Or maybe I'll get bored of commands and we'll do something else, who knows. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed. It's been a relatively chill kind of stream. I guess I am playing lo-fi the whole way through, but of course. Hope you've all enjoyed. My next stream is on Thursday at 9 with some more Among Us with the World of Madness crew, as well as the community. And then, I don't know about Friday, but definitely on Saturday at 9 we'll have some more random games with the patrons on the carousel. And we'll be back for more work on this on Tuesday. Meanwhile, I do make videos over youtube.com/rumbercomic. I can tell you there's at least one coming this week, potentially 2 if you're a patron, and you get to see them early, a week early. And everything I do is powered by you at Patreon, at patreon.com/line. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever, and next time.